We have a pear-shaped diamond and 2 tapered baguettes coming down the side. Classic setting, 3 stone, but not the usual way of making it. We're going to give it a lot of air, we're going to give it a lot of light, and I'm going to take you through the journey to show you exactly how I went about making it. As usual, behind the camera is Damia. My name is Jaco. Welcome to the studio. Let me show you what I've done. The top profile is what matters here. We want to really just see those 3 stones because they really are what shapes the design in this case. But the side of the ring, if you turn it around, if the customer takes the ring off, does it still have value? And that's really what I'm going to focus on over here. I'm going to elevate them. I'm going to minimize the ring itself, but I'm going to also put a bit of detail into the claw work. I'm looking at the profile, the biggest profile of the stone on the side, and I find that diameter. In this case, I used a bangle triplet or something to get that rounding, and then I bend the curve in and cut the front until it matches up. I want to make sure the exact shape of the stone is mirrored, not bigger, not smaller, just exactly the same. I need this flat block to start shaping, so I'm using a slightly wider or thicker material. I select an angle on these straight walls, so I'm marking that flat area, so that when I file it, I can consistently file the wall away until it meets that particular place. So I'm not going to touch the top corner. It's only from just below the top corner that I start filing it down to meet up with this consistent line. So it's sculpted out of a solid piece. That's how I'm getting this angle. You could do that by using a punching block or something like that to shape them. I don't have a punching block, and most of the time these shapes don't represent exactly the shape of the stone either. Okay, so why did we start on the center? Because everything revolves around the center stone. There's 2 parts. There's going to be the security of the stone. Obviously, that's absolutely important. I don't just want straight wires going down. There's movement to these stones. So I want these wires to drop towards the center of the ring, and I don't want them to be straight. I want them to have movement. So I'm creating a little circle. I'm bending the circle this direction, and these corners that create on the side then gives me a center point that moves away. I do this until I find, and I check with the setting itself, until I find the points where I want these 2 claws to come up on the setting, and from there onwards I connect them. Front setting is a little bit different. I'm looking to cover that point, filing that down so I can shape something towards those 2 points so they come together in the center. I'm making a full ring in platinum for this setting to be mounted on. It's not the ring itself, it's not the main ring. It's just going to have the little piece where the stones are connected. But I'm making a full ring because a structure is always more solid. It's exactly the same diameter as what the real ring is going to be. I'm really just creating a little sleeve where I can mount all these parts on. And by making a full ring in platinum, it just allows me all that rigidity so that I can really make sure that everything is perfect before it goes into the actual ring itself. Next stone is tapered baguette. Literally, I'm making a little piece of wire which is exactly or ever so slightly wider than the tapered baguettes. I use a little bit of glue, pop them on top of that, and then scribe the shape of the actual baguettes. And while I'm doing this, I'm working with one strip of plate. I'm not cutting them out so that I have these tiny little things to work with. I'm utilizing the center of this to shape everything I want to shape and cut everything I want to cut. And only right at the end, I then cut the one side off. It just gives me a little bit more control over the piece of material. And control equals precision. If I've got these stone settings now and I've worked with care and I've got them absolutely flush, I can just turn them sideways and put them on top of a plate and then solder them on, so that when the stone, if you think about it, the stone goes into the setting and these little walls should touch the setting because it's exactly the same size as the stone. Then I can get maximum amount of material over the stones, pushing them down like a little bed on top of the setting that I've created. Here's the beauty about making that little sleeve beforehand, because I can now pre-polish the area, and this is really the stuff that stands out versus your castings. A lot of places are inaccessible. That's how you can tell something's been cast, because you can find inaccessible little spots. Because I've got the center stone already stuck in there with a little pin, I can mark exactly how far to the sides my baguettes are going to reach. That's got a lot to do with the height of the setting, where they meet, and also the finger size. I'm making sure before I solder them on that these proportions are perfectly balanced, because in a ring that has simplicity, one with 3 stones only and a lot of open space, when a gap is not perfectly aligned, it draws the eye. It tells you the ring is not even. Let's go over to the ring itself now. Looking for a nice consistency, a nice thickness. And I also want a nice thickness, not just for longevity, but I also want to give it a nice feel on the ring itself, meaning I've got a little bit of space for the rounding at the bottom, for the rounding at the inside, so the ring really feels like it's a glove. These are the things I'm thinking about. I'm spending time making sure that I've got a bit of an edge coming up. I want a bit of flow on the ring. The flow, the point, the knife edge towards the top of the settings itself, it's elevating the setting, which is exactly what we wanted to do. I've come to realize that I need a little bit more height. Now, platinum allows me this beautiful thing where I can fuse platinum on top of platinum without it affecting its structure in any way. Kind of like wax. When people work in wax and you go a little far and you can build up wax again, platinum acts in the very same way. So I'm adding these bits on the top so that I can create a real nice lip. It is as if it always was like that from the beginning. The dominance of the setting itself kind of had a bit of a lacking to it, the way that the knife edge came together. I should have done a higher knife edge. It called for it, I changed it. We have the pear shape coming around, and you've got the 2 square edges of the baguettes dropping down. Created a space which to me was a bit of a negative space. So I added an additional 2 claws just on the setting itself to fill that space. So visually it makes more sense to me. So the ring is done, beautiful platinum. I mean, there is no better material to mount these in. It's much more dense, it's much more solid, keeps its shine so much better. It's just a league away from any other material. Perfect metal. I had the elevation, I had all the light that came into the stones. Customer was happy. I mean, everything worked out as it should, and I hope that you enjoyed this whole process, and I truly hope that there's something that in this workshop that you can pick up and utilize in your own work as well. Give us a thumbs up, share the video if you possibly can, and we'll catch you next time. Till then, cheers. If you do enjoy the work that we do, you can support the channel by going to the link and buying us a coffee. Thank you very much for all the people that have supported us so far. The money that's generated through this platform goes directly back into making these videos.